What's up everybody, my name is CoalFire and welcome back to Scorn. My apologies for the delay on this video. I had some issues with the game crashing very near the end of it, so I've been trying to work all of those out, and I think that I have. And I had no idea how close I was to the end of this demo last time. So, just for everybody who's only been watching my series on it, I wanted to go in one last time, blow through the demo, because I feel like I've gotten pretty good at just almost speedrunning it. But yeah, let's get in, because I definitely wanted to talk about this game a little bit more. Alrighty, we are back into this. So I've been reading up a little bit more on the game just because I want to know a lot more about this world, and if you've watched the two earlier videos, then you know how many questions I have about this world. But one of the interviews I was reading about was with the art designer, who his name I can't remember right now, so my apologies on that. But he was talking about his inspirations on the style in this game, and my initial thoughts were that it were Giger and Bakinski, who Bakinski, I never know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He's Polish. He is one of my absolute favorite artists. I actually have his painting Lovers up in my apartment just because I love it so much. And in reading those interviews, he talked about how Giger and Bakinski were two of his biggest inspirations. And if you guys don't know about Bakinski's art, but you love Giger, then please go look him up, because he is just as dark and surreal and nightmarish as Giger was. And I've always found that his paintings have a little bit more life to them, because from what I know of Giger, a lot of his stuff is in black and white or really minimalist colors, but Bakinski's always seem to have a little bit more to them. Not saying one's better than the other, I just tend to prefer Bakinski. But yeah, it's really cool seeing a game world that has been inspired by one of your favorite artists, and how well I think that they have captured it. Because, I mean, you look at the guns, you look at just the walls, everything in here just oozes this nasty biomechanical horror and surrealism. And that was another one of the things that was talked about, was the lack of horror elements in this game so far, which, you know, I kind of understand, but this is a super early alpha demo that isn't even open to the public. So, you know, the fact that they haven't implemented some of these different game aspects that, you know, are gonna make the full game, I don't really have anything against that at this point. Oh goodness, trying to talk and play at the same time is getting a wee bit harder. I don't know. I'm thoroughly impressed with this demo. I'm super happy that they've given it to us. Just to get in this world and see all of the wet, delicious goodness that they've built for us. And I might go on and on raving about how much I enjoy this a little bit too much, but you know, sometimes you just gotta settle in with the biggest grisly piece of gore that you can find and just snuggle up inside of it and make your home there. And that's kind of how I feel here. And I don't know how much that speaks to my character, but I love this art style. The mechanics right now are super solid and heavy and squishy. I've seen a couple complaints about there being a checkpoint system instead of like a manual save feature, but this game is even advertised more in the vein of a Metroidvania than it is a first-person shooter. So I have nothing against that. I think it's going to lend a lot to the difficulty and the world building in this, because you can't just save anywhere. If you've ever played any of the old Metroid games, which I've talked about it before, but Metroid Prime is one of my favorite games of all time. You have save stations in that, and if you die, you respawn at it. And I don't know the extent of the mechanics that are going to be implemented in this, but it seems, from what I've heard, which may be incorrect, misinformed, or misinterpreted, so take it all with a grain of salt, that you can only use each checkpoint once. And I have no idea how big this game is going to be. I know it's being split into 2 parts, and that's all there's going to be. Or at least that's how they plan it. So I'm really curious to see how they implement all of it. Okay. So this is where I usually get the crash. But last time I tried it, it worked fine. So let's do a quick mercy killing here. Beautiful. If you can tell, I've played through this a couple times now. And here we have it. The only part of the game that wasn't in the last video. Oh, but I just want to, like, take a second and... This is going to be the last we get to see of this game for a while. I don't know if they're going to do, like, an updated demo or anything, but... God... Guys at Ebb Studios, you have thoroughly impressed and intrigued me, and I am so much waiting for more. There it is. I know I wasn't really commentating on any of the gameplay, but if you've made it to the 3rd episode in this series, then the only thing you hadn't seen yet was me finishing that last room. I just really wanted to get in, actually give the demo a proper send-off, because in the last episode I said I was going to play more of it and hadn't followed through on that yet. This game, man, this game... I don't know if I have much else to say about it for now. I said I was reserved at the very beginning, and I can't say that I am anymore. I'm gonna try to be as much as I can, because, you know, all of the disappointments in the gaming industry really come from preconceived notions of what a game is going to be before you get your hands on it. You see things like No Man's Sky, the big hype train there. That's just the first example that comes to mind. I don't have anything against it. I've never actually played it, because I try to stay away from the hype train and get on board with how the game is reviewing and all that kind of stuff. But as I've gotten more into this channel, where I've been doing more and more first looks and one-offs and the newest releases of indie titles, I think a lot of my enjoyment of a lot of it comes from never really knowing what to expect when I go into a game. And there have been so few times that I've been disappointed in games because of this, because I have no preconceived notions, I have no expectations, and I think going into games like that really allows you to appreciate what a game is instead of what you think a game should be. So, I know I've gone on a bit of a rant here about games and the gaming industry and what I think about all of it, but I do think a lot of it applies. I'm going to keep following Scorn. I'm going to play every last bit of it on the channel once it's released. I know we've got a bunch of longer indie titles coming out next year, like Luca and hopefully Dark Devotion, if it gets funded. If you haven't funded that yet, please consider taking a look. It's got about 10 days left. This game can also be supported for, I believe, the next 4 days at the time of this video release. That link is down in the description below, as always. Oh, and Soul. Soul is going to be really fun to play through as well. But yeah. I'm excited, but still reserved. But thank you guys so much for watching. My name is CoalFire, and I will see you next time.